Good morning. It's Saturday. Gonna shoot a little summer garden tour, summer 2021. Start with this really pretty copper kettle hibiscus. Currently moving into lily season. I got some these pink, some of them may be stargazers. These white are a Turk's cap called Lady Alice. I'll move around them kind of in the brush here for a second. These lovelies, like I said, are a type of Turk's cap lily. And that real recurved form, like the native orange ones that you see in the mountains especially. Some of them are, I just kind of let them meander through. They're being held up by golden Alexanders and this really pretty Argentine skies salvia. Everybody's just holding each other up and supporting. Fortunately, that's happening for us too. We had a pretty wild spring and summer, so here's one of my favorites, the old-fashioned tiger lilies, the orange. Let's see that. Here we go. The sun was kind of burning it out a little bit. This really pretty small hydrangea is getting ready to pop out. These terrible neighborhood wrens going to town. I love those guys. This concoleus is getting huge. One of my granny's favorites. Over to the pond. Just noticed the other day we've got some baby goldfish in here. I saw one right as I walked up. He darted away. Obviously, I got a big sun hat on, so guess I look like a big bird of prey coming in. I see the other ones down in the bottom a little bit. Won't work. Just under the surface moving around. Looks like a big green dragon. Looking for a frog. Oh, yeah. He's over there. Right underneath just past the cat's head, underneath that blue flag. That's one of his favorite spots, or her favorite spot, their favorite spot. This is one of my all-time favorites. It's Anis hyssop. You can see all those tiny little flies and bumblebees. It's just getting warm enough. The sun's getting on it. This variety is an annual. It reseeds itself freely, as you can see, and I let it go wherever it likes because I love it. And it goes all the way up. Of course, the bees are here with the cleome. Some people call it spider lilies. This is the taller variety. Gets about 7 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet. There's one back there that's pretty tall already. Right behind with the lilies. I had to put lilies behind the house or deep in the border because if you don't know, haven't had the misfortune of having deer eat your lilies. These guys have been pulled over by the sun, or the, rain. I see the sun. There's my dyslexia kicking in, so. There's a little easier shot of it to look at. It's not quite as burned out in the intense sunlight. And the smell of if you crush a leaf, it smells like licorice. If you like that smell, which I do. Some people, I actually like licorice. So. Here's some Casablanca lilies getting ready to pop open. There's a bumblebee, one of my favorites. It's called porterweed. It really looks kind of weedy, just has those little spikes with a few flowers at a time, but bees and hummingbirds just love these guys. There's a little annual salvia. Bees and pollinators like a lot. This is a really sweet bee balm my friend Janelle gave me. It just said pink bee balm, so sorry I don't know which form variety. But man, look at that color. Sprinkled in here with a few little joes or baby joes. I can't remember. Joe pie weeded, so these are the shorter ones as opposed to the 8-foot ones. It's another lovely bee balm blooming. And no, I don't know the name. Sorry. A little bumblebee taking a break. We had a good shower yesterday evening, so found quite a few sleeping bees this morning. Sorry about my neighbor's heat pump. It's kind of laid out here by the driveway. Just wanted to stop this little cabbage white I saw fluttering around. This is called calamint. It's something I picked up at Ronaldo this spring. It's supposed to be a super pollinator plant. Let's see. Pull the tag out. Here's a tag for you. Got a little patch of cone flowers. Some of the new varieties. That's powwow white in the back, and these brighter ones in the front. Decided to try those. Got those at Painter's back in the spring for my birthday. A smooth blue aster. And one little bloom popped out. First bloom on the asters, which I thought was kind of early, but it's okay, I'll take it. This is a shrub form, a crepe myrtle. We planted memorial for my brother. A friend of ours gave it to us. And it will max out maybe 5 or 6 feet. It stays small and bushy shrub as opposed to the large tree forms. Up by the driveway. Sorry, I'm going to pick up highway traffic. But just wanted to show you this big patch of purple love grass, which I'm in love with. It does have a little bit of a purple cast to it, but got this from James at Elderberry. It's a native grass. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend Elderberry Nursery, Farm and Nursery. Got some really good, I've got a number of good pollinator native plants out there. Speaking of, I got this guy, it's Cornelia, and this shorter, low-growing black chokeberry. Got that earlier in the spring. And actually, this guy here is the shrubby St. John's wort. Got a few little pollinators on it. Got some stiff competition for it. This Shoals Creek chase tree probably has 2,000 bumblebees on it right now. This is kind of hard to show you all the bumblebees on it because they're just everywhere. You're pretty much ignoring these little black-eyed Susans. There's so much going on up in the canopy here. This is about 8 feet high right now. I think it's Shoal Creek maxes out about 12, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's probably 9, 10, 11 feet across. It's been here a couple years, and I've pruned it back pretty good in the spring. But there's a whole lot of sweet bees in there. And this little guy's taking a break on sunflower the birds planted from the bird seed. Oh, here's another little guy. He's taking a break. I'm really loving these guys. Heliopsis false sunflower. 2 different colors. One's a burning heart and one's bursting heart, I think. I won't swear to it, but here's another sweet pollinator plant I was unfamiliar with till James introduced me. Late figwort. Doesn't look like too much, does look like a weed, but you can see pollinators know who it is. I wouldn't mind having a 6 or 8 foot surround of this planted in mass. Here's the other side of Chase Tree. You can see pollinators zipping around, and you can hear traffic. Sorry again for that. Try to do this early as I can on Saturday morning and get out here before there's too much traffic. There's a big truck and a little stud muffin will go by with no muffler. You can't hear yourself. Oh, you're just so sweet. Look at all you guys. There's the first Mexican sunflower of the season. The plant's about 4 feet high. Fortunately, Bambi doesn't really care for these guys. That's another upside for me. I had these planted right here last year, and then as you can see, they reseeded themselves. Another friend of mine gave me this great idea. These guys can grow 7, 8 feet high, which is fabulous, but they'll get broken in the storm. So when it was about 10 inches high, I nipped it in the bud, literally. And so they grow shorter and branch more and stay a little lower. My friend saw it in a magazine where they'd made a hedge doing that, so seems to be a thing for me to do, especially out here next to the road. This is a pretty open area, gets a lot of wind when we get a thunderstorm, and they got broken over, which they still continue to grow and bloom and attract all the pollinators, so it's not all bad. There's a bunch of, I threw out a bunch of black-eyed Susan seeds last year. You can see some, I have a patch of golden hyssop, golden jubilee hyssop on the other side of that bloodgood Japanese maple. I'll show you that. It's kind of gone. It had never thrown any seedlings much. It's been there 3 years, and then this year you can see all these little golden babies. There's a bunch up under that. I'll move around to the other side. Here's the original patch. It was 2 plants, I believe. There's another bird planted sunflower. And then look at all those glorious babies coming up. There's quite a few in here. I'll probably get some of these and move them. That same pollinator effect as the anise hyssop down by the drive. There's a bunch of little, not quite as crazy on moving around as much as they do. There's a St. John's wort that was blooming earlier in the spring, and man, they're just so frenetic. They look like they're on crack or something. They just jump around, but they seem to take their time, kind of pick over the hyssop. Agastache also it's called. This is a perennial variety, Golden Jubilee. I did get this at Painter's Greenhouse in Old Fort, and really excited about all these babies out here, so I need to be moving some of these. This is one of my favorites. It's a big patch of the native form of purple coneflower. Got quite a few pollinators on it. You can see, even with the stiff competition from the chase tree, everybody likes this one pretty good. That's American Beautyberry behind. Normally it has a lot of pollinators, but those will be bright, kind of a magenta purple berry in the fall. Really pretty. There's a little small black-eyed Susan tucked in between chase tree. Quite a few baby black-eyed Susans. I'm going to move some of these. These are some small coneflower plants that came up from this mother plant. There's a few babies up under here. I'll move some of these out. Some mountain mint blooming. Got a few pollinators zipping around in here. Some of them are tiny, hard to see. There's a couple little honeybees, but again, I'm on the back side of the major competition. But everybody has their own flavor, just like the rest of us. Here's another bird planted from the bird seed, so I'm assuming this is black Oilers bird seed. You can see Bambi has mowed all these top leaves off all the way back. Had these tomatoes volunteer. Well, it used to be tomatoes. I had left them for the tomato hornworms. I know that sounds weird, anybody who is a gardener, but I love the hawk moths that they turn into. So, plus they're absolutely phenomenally beautiful little creatures. So, if you haven't seen tomato hornworms, these are my two pawpaw trees. One came from seed collected in Pufftown, which is close by Winston, and one came from a pawpaw tree in Virginia. Got these at Ronaldo's fall sale 2 years ago, I believe, and now they're up about 4 feet. They were maybe 1.5 feet when I got them. They were pretty small, so that's exciting coming on. This is something I planted just for pollinators, and it's called Blue African Basil. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 that I planted. They're probably balls about 3 feet across. There's all kinds of little pollinators zipping around here. Every time I move the phone around trying to get their picture, they move, but up against the zinnias back and behind, one of my favorites. And yeah, that is the Hawaiian plumeria. It's got some bloom set, so hopefully I'll see it before frost gets it. Anyway, zinnias are one of my favorites, so we'll sign off here in the zinnia section of this little part of the garden. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care.